So today I wanted to talk about the heroes that I personally believe are probably some of the best heroes to either main or one trick or really just decide to pick up and play in the up and coming season. Now of course, as always, you shouldn't just throw away the previous heroes that you have been playing, but if you just want to try something out that's new and you want to try someone that actually works in the majority of situations, well today hopefully I can give you guys a few ideas. Now with that said, all these picks are going to be pretty skill dependent, and really you don't want to just pick up and play them. I mean, I guess some you can do okay, but really these are heroes that you want to put in a lot of time with, but if you do, they're going to really pay off in the long run. With all that said though guys, let's get started. So for the support category, there's a lot of different heroes that I think that you could honestly just kind of main and do really fine with. Moira, Lucio, Mercy, there's a lot of one tricks, a lot of mains of those characters, and they do quite well. The only ones that are kind of bad right now to do that with are Ana and Symmetra, because while they both can work, they get countered in quite a few situations. But to my pick here, that being Zenyatta, he doesn't really have that problem as much. He can fit into most team comps and do pretty well. Of course, he works best with dive and works best with heavy DPS comps where he doesn't have to heal way too much, but he can work alright with tank comps by adding a bit of extra damage, so you can kind of pick him up wherever you want to, being a really good main in that sense. You can heal people from a variety of ranges, you can damage boost people, you know, the basic things in his kit. But I think the most important thing about Zenyatta that makes him such a good character to main as a support player is his elim potential and his damage potential. If you look at the Overwatch League, players like Jonak sometimes are at the top of the damage charts or the top of the elim charts as Zenyatta, a support character. Honestly, if you get extremely good at getting those right clicks, charging it up, hitting people in the head from halfway across the map, that can win your team a game by itself. And I don't really think a lot of the other supports can kind of say that about that. And I think that's really where Zenyatta shines as far as being a support that you actually want to main, because there's a lot of room for improvement. Now, a base level Zenyatta can actually do pretty well without hitting almost any shots at all. You can just heal people up, get a few good trances on, you know, a really good Genji ult that the enemy might have been able to get otherwise, and get some nice discords, and you're going to be fine. You're probably going to be able to stay at the rank that you're at without too much effort. But if you get great at Zenyatta, if you're hitting shots all over the place, if you're killing the Tracer that's trying to kill you, if you're somehow staying alive against Sombra EMPs, if you're doing all of that, while also, again, putting in a ton of damage into the enemy front line and back line and getting picks all over the place, I think that is why he's just the best person to main as far as the support goes. And again, as well, because he does fit into pretty much every team comp you can think of for supports and do pretty well, which is of course something you want to do when you're maining a hero, because it means you don't really have to feel bad when you're picking him up almost every single game. Now to Diva, she did just get a nerf, but I think that she's still going to be extremely strong because the general basis of her kit is kind of still there. She can still tank a lot of damage, she can still do a decent amount of burst, she can still block theoretically infinite damage for a certain point of time, obviously, and she can still get huge pop-offs with her ultimates. If you're very good at positioning with Diva, and you're very good at finding out the perfect time to finally pick off somebody in the enemy front line or back line that's maybe just a little bit out of position or a little too low on HP, you can get a lot of value out of this character, and I think a lot more valuable than you might be getting out of a lot of the other tanks. Now yes, oftentimes you want to have a shield tank, but as Diva, even if you don't have a shield tank, you can oftentimes do fine and win a game, and especially if you have a shield tank and you're just the second tank, that's even better in a lot of situations. Diva, while she can't, I guess, necessarily hold a choke completely by herself, can do so much other things, and that's why she's been almost a 100% pick rate, tank character for such a long time. And I think another great thing about her that makes her a great, tank character to main is that she does have a lot of outplay potential, has a lot of mobility, and feels really fun to play, and it feels like you can get better as her. Of course, again, kind of like Zenyatta, you can play her at the minimum level and just kind of do fine and stay around and walk around and protect some damage and do whatever, and you'll be fine, and you'll probably stay at the rank that you're at. But again, like Zenyatta, if you put in a lot of time and mainly learn exactly where to position, when to be there, and how to spot opportunities as Diva, as we've seen again in the Overwatch League, it can really pay off with this character. And that's something that I'm going to say not a lot of the other tanks can do nearly as well. Rissa, I mean, she can get some nice ults, but she can't really go in and finish off kills, can she? Reinhardt's kind of in a similar boat, feeling a little weak as well. And then we have people like Zarya and Roadhog, which are the other off tanks, which can do a lot, but I feel like Diva, if you're playing her right, can just affect the game a lot more and really just fit in to a ton more team comps. And that's again why I think she's a great character to main, because while Zarya and Roadhog do have those moments where you can pop off, I mean, if you're on a certain team, it just doesn't really happen. You just can't really do way too much. But as Diva, almost no matter what your team is, you can apply something. If you have a triple tank comp, well, you can go for a lot of damage and stop the enemy from playing someone like a Junkrat or a Reaper to counteract you. So that's really great. If you're playing, for example, Dive, well, you go in with your Winston, you get kills, it works out really well for you right there. And even if you're playing triple DPS, I mean, at least you can save them for a while. You can play in the front line, maybe get some picks, stall for some time. She really can just kind of do it all. And even though, again, she did get nerfed and she's not quite as good as she was in the past, she still is a very good pick, at least in my opinion, to try to main. You probably should learn a other tank, probably someone like a Reinhardt or a Orisa to have someone with a shield. And again, with Zenyatta, you should probably learn a main healer just in case you need that. But for the majority of the time, I think she is a great pick to go for. So for the defense role, I was kind of thinking about Widowmaker or Junkrat, because I think a lot of the other defense heroes are very situational, and even these ones are pretty dang situational. But I ended up finally going on Widowmaker because if you become a complete god with this character, it is extremely hard to shut you down. Now, I am going to say that if you're somebody that just wants to main a hero and have fun and put in a decent amount of time, Junkrat is probably the better pick from the defense slot. Because, again, he's a little easier, he can get a lot more value out of a lot less work, and he fits a decent amount of team comp still on offense on defense. But Widowmaker, I mean, she can do some stuff if you aren't that great with her, but really it is all about having really good aim, being able to position really well, staying far back, knowing where to be and when to be there, and again, the number one thing, being able to get picks and actually finish people off. And as Widowmaker, if you're playing in competitive solo queue, if you are a god Widowmaker that has mained this character, that has put so many hours into them, well, it feels like it's almost impossible to counter you, and I guess technically it would almost be impossible unless the enemies are playing a really good dive comp, and yeah, solo queue that doesn't happen way too much. Now again, as Widowmaker, I wouldn't recommend her at all to anybody that doesn't have a ton of time on her, at least in quick play or at least, in the arena mode or whatever you're doing. But if you are a person that is really trying to try hard, I think she can be good. And honestly, I think she can be the very best hero in the game if you are a god as her, even compared to just other people in your rank. But again, if you don't want to put in that effort, Junkrat is also a really good pick. And finally here, I'm going to say the offensive role. And the hero that I think is probably the best to one trick is going to be Tracer, because she really does not rely on her team at all. And most of the other offense, they can play by themselves. They can do pretty well with their team. They can pull off big plays, obviously, because they're offense heroes. They have all that damage. They have everything. But Tracer can literally carry a game almost completely by herself, as long as the enemy team doesn't, put in a ton of effort and a ton of resources into shutting her down. And I guess even if they do, it makes your team have a lot easier time on winning in the front line. The thing about Tracer is that she has so much potential in her kit. She has one-clip potential, she has mobility potential, she has distraction potential. And again, if you are playing her to the top level, it feels as if there's almost nothing to do against her other than either get a Widowmaker that is just amazing and can instantly one-shot her, or get a Diva that can block all of her damage. But a lot of the times you can't really do either of those way too much, depending on, I guess, what's happening in your solo queue games. And even if you have a Diva, unless she's consistently looking at your backline, which she probably won't because Diva thinks of herself more as a frontline character, then, Tracer can still get picks and Tracer can still get kills. And that really is what's so good about her. Tracer is a solo queue hero at heart, I think. And while again, yeah, she does do amazingly in competitive and is probably one of the best esports heroes as well, I think hand by hand, she does good just about everywhere. It seems like she can do just about a little bit of everything, and yeah, I've heard a lot of top level players say, even her counter type heroes, that being someone like McCree, I mean, if she plays perfectly, he really doesn't counter her that much, which shows again why she can be such a good main to play, and why by far she is the most played hero in the top 500. If you look at it, there's some people playing Widow, some people playing Genji and all that, but by far, you're going to be finding a lot of Tracer just because she is so dang good right now. And of course, because she's really fun to get better at, and because she takes a lot of time to get better at, and because she has a high skill ceiling, making her a great character to learn and a strong character to learn all in one package. Overall, a really good main. But anyways, as always guys, this has just been my own personal opinion about the heroes that I personally believe probably are some of the best ones to one trick or main or whatever you want to say in Overwatch competitive. And the next season might change up a little bit, but I still think that Zenyatta is going to be very strong because he works amazingly with Brigitte. Diva also works pretty well with her and doesn't get countered too bad by her. Widowmaker just completely shuts her down, so that's not really a problem. And Tracer can essentially just kind of play around the Brigitte, waste a ton of her time, and even though theoretically she should be able to kind of counter Tracer, in actuality we haven't seen that happen way too much. But I guess we're going to kind of have to see and go on with that. Anyways, as always guys though, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like or comment down below what heroes you personally believe are some of the best ones to main, as I'd also like to hear that. Soldier I guess you could add to the pot because he's kind of good at everything, and yeah, he's pretty nice. Even though he's not overpowered right now, he is also a pretty good hero to main. With all that said though guys, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a wonderful day.